Well,
Happy Wednesday. I mean, oh man, it's only Tuesday. Happy
happy Taco
Tuesday.
Tuesday, Michelle. How are you doing?
Good. I don't know if we're making tacos today.
That's totally fine. What are you thinking of eating tonight?
Leftovers.
Exactly. Yeah, we went crazy last week. I think it was just like our workload was very heavy, and we went crazy and bought a bunch of takeout. So we have lots and lots of leftovers. You know the cool thing about tacos, you could always put anything you want inside of a taco, like inside of a tortilla. So
Duncan,
Duncan is here, our moderator, our official moderator. Duncan VR, how's it going? Hooray! What's flipping? So here's a question from Duncan, which I really enjoy because he's trying to keep us kind of on target. He said, "Do you two actually have a monthly target on eBay?" The short answer is, Michelle.
no, not on eBay, but we do have a target every week across all platforms.
Hello, Noel, horror collector fiend.
Duncan, what kind of stuff do you sell? Let us know.
Yeah, Duncan, last time I remember was like, oh man, was it like stamps? Stamps. I think it was stamps. Yeah, so Duncan said, did someone say taco takeout? Yeah. Yes, right? You could put anything on a pizza. You could put anything in a tortilla. So yeah, so we don't have a monthly target on eBay. We are still refining our business, but I think that's a great idea. Yeah. So Duncan, I think Duncan's specialty is eBay, right?
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, Duncan, you have a guide on that. I don't know if that's something that you share to everyone. If it is, please share it in the comments. How long have you been selling on eBay, Duncan? For us, we've been selling on eBay for many, many years, but we haven't refined the art of eBay. And so we would love to become better at eBay, though. We would absolutely love that. How's it going, Brittany? Discount deals for you.
Hi,
Happy
Brittany.
Taco Tuesday to you. Awesome. So yes, he has his eBay store. Check it out. It's ebay.co.uk /str/postal history letters and covers. How cool. We should definitely look at his store sometime as well.
Yeah.
We're going to check out your store. But so we're going to get started with our discussion on shipping. Before that, though, we haven't yet introduced ourselves. So my name is Marina.
My name is Michelle.
And we started this journey of buying things, locally at garage sales and thrift stores a little over 2 years ago. And it turned into a really fun hobby. I mean, I don't know, Michelle, do you still think this hobby is fun? I still think every single part of the hobby is fun. How about you?
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
I mean, I miss sourcing, like real life sourcing, I kind of miss that.
100%. Yeah, like there's nothing like sourcing in person. It feels like you are what do you call an explorer, right? On a scavenger hunt, trying to find the treasure. So there is nothing that's ever going to compare to that. You've gotten a little bit more into the business side of this and like trying to, actually make some profits and try to reach some of our goals that we have in life.
Yeah.
And we're getting closer and closer to retirement age, so we got to save up for that too.
That's right. So what are we going to talk about today?
All right. So today is Tip Tuesday as well as Taco Tuesday. And we're going to discuss shipping fragile items. The reason, Michelle, you want to let everyone know the reason why we chose this topic today?
Well, the reason why is because this past week I shipped out an espresso machine, and I thought I packed it pretty well. Unfortunately, the top cracked a little bit. There was a crack, and I failed. So we want to talk about what we can do to improve that.
Yeah, so even though we've been shipping for a while, I think shipping comes more naturally to some than others. And for us, it's been a struggle. So Even though we have a lot of experience, we sold many, many items. Not as many as Duncan, though. He has 150,000 sales since 2012. Congratulations, Duncan.
Wow.
That is a feat. That is fantastic. That is so amazing. And I think that's just on eBay. So he's definitely the eBay expert. So again, thanks for keeping us on our toes when it comes to eBay, because 2020, that was our goal. Our goal this year was for Michelle to master eBay and for me to master Amazon. Guess what? Neither goal came true. So but we still want those goals. Definitely. We used to be doing better on eBay. We talk about that in our story, and we made some mistakes. So this is one of the mistakes that got us into eBay jail, actually. Is
Yeah.
if you have too many, negative situations where the items are not arriving well, even if it's not your fault, right? Oftentimes it's not your fault entirely. Sometimes packages are not treated well, right, in the route. But sometimes, naturally, they just, they're fragile. So so that's one of the things that'll put you in eBay jail. And we're going to talk about how to make sure that you guys don't do that.
So why is this important? Marina, would you like to talk about the story of the Funko Pops?
I don't. So I have no idea what you have in mind. So I'm going to let you discuss it, because,
Well,
to be frank, I didn't even know what a Funko Pop was until you introduced it to me. So maybe we should start by defining, what is a Funko Pop, first of all, because not everyone knows.
is sort of a collector's item, and it's a vinyl figurine that sits in a box, and it ranges from all the characters you see in movies, cartoons, games, anything you could think of, any character basically, or real life person. So when we first started reselling, I found these Funko Pops for sale for $4 a piece. And I wasn't sure during that time. We had no clue what they were, but we purchased them, and we sold 2 of the rare items. I believe it's the dragon from How to Train a Dragon, and it was a rare item. Mm-hmm. And what I did was I shoved 2 Funko Pops.
This is funny now, but
I shoved 2 Funko Pops in a poly mailer, and I shipped it out.
So we were really naive when we first started, because I guess we thought oh, the post office person will know what to do with this, and they're going to know to treat it delicately, and not, it's never going to be shoved anywhere ever.
Gosh, because in my head, I was like, these poly mailers have bubble wrap around it. It should be cool. When the item arrived, and we sold this for not cheap, like $80 or $90. It was expensive. When they arrived, we got a really upset customer emailing us.
Yeah, this happened a few times too.
Basically saying, why the heck did you put them in a poly mailer? And he was so upset, and we learned our lesson. That was our first lesson.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it might be silly, especially if you've been doing this for a while and you know more, better than this. But obviously we've learned a lot. We learned how to expertly wrap a Funko Pop. We actually have a video on YouTube that takes you through how to actually do it the proper way. But that said, my sister, who started selling online this year because of the pandemic, she lost her job. She's a hairdresser, so we're in California, and they're totally shut down. And she also didn't really know how to package, no idea, right? So just to start, in an envelope, like a bubble padded envelope, you don't want to put anything in there that's smashable, right? Just to start. And so some things that you can put in there that you wrap with you could put a book in there that you wrap with bubble wrap, and put it in a bubble envelope. That would be fine. And you can also put some clothes in a padded bubble envelope. So that, just things like that won't break easily.
That's
So
right.
Duncan says, do they feed you tacos in the eBay jail?
Oh gosh.
Oh yes, we got plenty of tacos in the eBay jail. We'd rather not have tacos and have good eBay sales, right, Michelle?
Yeah, eBay jail was so disappointing and sad. So we were in eBay jail for a year.
We were in eBay jail for a year, and things change after eBay jail. So Cynthia Amon says, hello, Marina Michelle. Hello to our lovely friend Cynthia, all the way from North Carolina. Happy Taco Tuesday to you.
Hi,
Did you
Cynthia.
by chance have tacos for dinner today? Yes, I love this picture. There's a picture, Michelle. Once we've mastered how to ship a television, a tube television with glass and a lot of sensitive compartments. And she's very happy with this. I think this was our first one, and we actually worked on this together. This one here says, sometimes fragile stickers may not be enough. So I love that, Michelle, because on this one side of this one box, of course, the box has 8 faces. There are 7 fragile stickers. Well, no, 6. But guess what? Michelle's right. Sometimes fragile stickers may not be enough. In fact, we surveyed resellers on our Instagram account, which is Flippin' Gals, if you guys want to follow us there. And many of the seasoned sellers said that they don't even put fragile stickers because they almost feel like they're going to be treated worse.
That's, you know what's so
Many said
interesting?
that.
Yeah, that's what I read online, and they said don't put fragile sticker because they're gonna throw it like crazy, which is so weird. I don't know. All right, so let's talk about what are considered fragile items. Here's a list, and Marina, you could chime in and add more items.
Yeah, can I quickly just go over a couple of comments if that's okay?
Yeah.
Duncan said, "Sorry, my missus just rang me. What did I miss? She wanted to know what was for dinner. I said rice. Given the context, that's funny, but that's what she wants to have, right, Duncan? So when Michelle asked me what's for dinner, I better answer her
Noodle.
favorite thing to eat, which is noodles." I was cracking up of that. Brittany, discount deals for you, said, I wanted to have tacos. Yeah, who doesn't want to have tacos all the time? Just kidding. I don't know if everyone likes tacos, but I do have students from, a lot of them come from China. I'm an English as a second language teacher when I am not reselling. And they tell me, oh my goodness, tacos are so delicious. So I think they're like universally, you could acquire a taste for this on a universal level to use the right ingredients inside of that tortilla. All right, so Michelle was saying, what are considered fragile items?
All right, we've got drinking glasses, and we could call out what we have not shipped before reselling. We've got plates, artwork, lampshades, liquid, or anything liquid, cleaning supplies, glass pictures, wine and liquor bottles, books, mirrors, stereo and audio equipment. I think we have packed everything except the liquor, right?
Yeah, everything but the liquor and wine bottles. We have not sold that. No, everything else, yes, I think.
Yeah, and we did pack some Coca-Cola bottles, limited edition, and they all exploded, remember?
No, I don't remember that. But again, it makes sense because they're like shaking around and they're full of CO2, right?
Yeah, we shipped the cherry blossom flavor Coca-Cola, remember?
Cherry blossom or it was peach flavor.
Oh, peach, I'm sorry, peach.
So, Michelle, we have not shipped a lampshade. Have you shipped a lampshade?
No. Yes.
No. So we haven't shipped a lampshade. We haven't shipped wine or liquor bottles. We have shipped the aftershave collectible glass bottles. Those are Bolo. You guys check those out. We sold a lot that were not even completely full. People collect those, and those arrived okay. We're lucky on those. Brittany says, I have sent a few things that were fragile, but I never used a fragile label either. They arrived in good shape, but I had it padded to the max. LOL. So that's key right there. What Brittany just said is using lots and lots of padding to the max, just like what Brittany said. And we do that with our TVs. So we actually were not padding to the max on our TVs. We have been okay with our TVs, but there was this one instance that I think Michelle's talked about before, where the person who ordered the TV wasn't there, right? And it's funny, it makes sense now why they weren't there. It was a bar. So they were probably shut down because of the pandemic, right? And the item was supposed to arrive at the bar. And anyway, they weren't there. So the item went back like 2 or 3 times. So when it got here, returned back to us, it was really roughed up. And one thing broke on this TV, which was the little flap. Oh no, that was something else. That was a different TV. It was like the edge of the something on the TV broke.
The bottom.
The bottom of it.
Cracked, yeah.
The bottom cracked. There you go.
Yeah. So Brittany says, I have packed only electronics, plates, and glasses. I was so scared it was going to break. So good job. Those are really hard, difficult items to pack securely. Yes.
So I'm wondering, Brittany, how did you ship your glass items? Would you mind letting us know in the comments what supplies did you use and how many layers? So another time we surveyed, this is like a survey we do often. I surveyed recently in the stories, Instagram stories, how do you package delicate items? And one of the answers from actually Hustle and Hooks, another an absolutely great YouTube channel if you guys want to check them out. They recommended to do, bubble wrap and then cardboard box it, with padding, and then put it inside of a box and then put it inside of another box. So that's 4 layers.
Yeah, that sounds legit. We have some tips to share with you guys, and we're going to go through 9 tips today. So the first one is choose a box that's only slightly larger than the item. So I actually, being the shopper as well, being the receiving end, I noticed that if a package has too much gap between the item and the box, they tend to be more fragile. So at times when it's a decent sized gap and it has, it's snug, then you're good. And so definitely make sure you have a box that's not too big and not too small and have enough room for the item to sit in the middle.
I like that. Yeah, you don't want to, spend an entire roll of craft paper unnecessarily either. So you can definitely resize your box, or like Michelle said, find a slightly larger box. It will definitely allow you to put a little bit of craft paper in between, which is definitely highly recommendable. So we usually fill the bottom of the box with craft paper, and maybe there's like 1 or 2 inches all 4 sides around, fill with craft paper tightly. And then at the very top, again, we like to leave about 1 inch filled with craft paper. So Duncan asked, can you ship TVs to a P.O. box?
I'm not sure, actually. I believe so. I mean, it depends if the P.O. box. Well, P.O. is a postal office. I'm not sure, actually. That's a good question.
We have not yet had to do that. So that's a really good question. So Brittany, actually, thanks so much for answering. She said, I used bubble wrap for the glasses and put it in a box with extra paper. Wow, that's amazing.
Cool.
So awesome that your glasses made it there. So like these were like drinking glasses, Brittany? Just trying to like kind of get an idea, because I had a fail. So I helped Michelle with shipping. She's usually the one in charge of shipping. I had a fail recently. It was it Pyrex? Or what's the other name of it? Pyrex. Yeah. It was Pyrex. It was vintage. So that always breaks my heart when when we do that, like mess up on those. But I wrapped that one in bubble wrap. Of course, they were bowls, so I didn't fill in the gaps. I should have stuffed it with like some kind of like padding, right? And then I should have put cardboard around that, or put it in a box and then into another box. I did not. I just stuffed the rest of the box with paper, put it in a box, and then they both broke. So darn it.
Well, tip number 2, that means we gotta look at this further, is really wrap the item in cushioning material. So so I have learned that, me being the shipping person, the bubble wrap, if you wrap anything, I really prefer the big bubbles. They're about half an inch big with each bubble. And they provide so much more protection than the little tiny bubble wrap, because you could use 3 layers of the tiny little bubble wrap, and that's equivalent to pretty much 1 layer of the big bubble wrap. So highly recommended, use giant bubble wrap.
That is such a good tip. And we only recently found out about that one. And we were just using up so much of that tiny bubble wrap, and it like literally doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You can use a little bubble wrap for books. You know, that's fine. You don't need the big bubble wrap to ship books. But like if you're shipping fragile items, those big bubbles have so much protection. That's an excellent tip, Michelle. Duncan says, tip, sell old stamps from the 1800s. Very lightweight, easy to store and ship. I can send orders worldwide, cost at $3.20. And of course, we have a follow-up question from Cynthia, because I had the same question. How can you do that, Duncan? It's so cheap. I don't use Depop International because of that. I mean, that's a good question. And then Brittany, Discount Deals for You, says, I used to flip cell phones. Bubble wrap worked well for those too. Oh, that's cool, because cell phones are also, they have glass, right? Glass screens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to know on those. Thanks for the tip, Brittany. We appreciate that.
Brittany, you're a great packaging person, because I wouldn't even use bubble wrap for cell phones.
Oh no.
I mean, now I would, but I would never think of that before.
Right.
You know, in addition to the bubble wrap, you could use those air cushion thingies. You know, when you get a package from Amazon, they have those air cushioned. Mm-hmm. Those are a little bit more expensive. So it really depends on how much you're willing to invest. We use craft papers. And then another option is foam. That's also quite expensive, but if you have access to used packaging, you could totally use that. You know, package coming in. So you can use our supplies and not throw them away. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so this is a good one. We have an upcoming YouTube video that we need to post on this that we made. But tip 3 says, if necessary, encase the item in foam. Michelle is pro at doing this with the old TVs. The old TVs, they need the foam. The foam is a special foam. It's not actually called foam. What is it called?
Future foam.
Future foam. And we need to do a shout out to Vasquez Vintage, who also has an amazing YouTube and Instagram channel. And they gave us the advice. They told us how to ship a vintage television. So thanks to them, you know, we've been able to successfully ship the vintage TVs using the future foam. And we recommend using it on the bottom, in front of where the glass is. And Michelle, do you use it also on the back now of the TV?
No, I use it on the bottom because, as you know, they're going to throw the box around. So that's a lesson we learned. So the bottom will crack. And the front of the TV screen, it's super fragile and delicate. So we want to cover the front of the TV. These foams are selling for $5 each. And obviously, you know, when you list your item, make sure you put the packaging cost in there as well, just to pad it a little bit. But, you know, $5 is totally worth it.
Yeah, Duncan wants to know if you like to pop the bubbles on the giant bubble wrap. Have you tried?
Yeah.
I feel like you haven't. Oh, did you?
I do, but the dogs freak out, so I don't do that.
Yeah, our dogs are afraid of the noise.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so tip number 4 is use heavy-duty boxes. So, this is something we never ran out of the normal boxes, and it's like, hello, we should have been doing this the whole time. It's they're thicker, they provide extra protection, and you know, sometimes we resize our boxes, and that's another little tip there, is when you resize your boxes, again, this is coming soon in a YouTube video where we show you how we exactly pack a tube television. And then the flaps that go on top when you resize a box provide extra protection at the very top. So somebody wants to like throw something heavy on top of your package, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and heavy duty boxes, they might be a little bit more expensive if you're, going to buy supplies, but totally worth it, because it's got double wall protection. In addition to the protection you have inside, you should be fairly, safe there. Marina, do you need to go? I know you have a meeting.
Oh yeah, lost track of time. Yep, I'm gonna be stepping out, and Michelle's gonna take over. So it was great seeing all of you, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it.
No problem. Heavy duty boxes, definitely highly recommended, especially if you have to ship bigger and more delicate items. If you look at this picture on the left, that's what you get if you don't use heavy duty boxes. So, all right. And Duncan has a couple of comments. So he says, is that U-Haul box full of tacos? I wish, and I would want to jump into it and swim. So that's funny, Duncan. All right, tip number 5, don't use beat up boxes. This is something that I sometimes do, but it really depends on the item. If I'm shipping a plush doll, I may use a beat up box and patch it up. But for fragile items, sometimes you want to save money and not buy any new boxes, but you don't want to, first of all, you don't want the item to break. And second of all, you don't want a negative feedback, because when sometimes it's not your fault, it's a postal service's fault or the carrier's fault, they still leave a negative feedback, even though it's not your fault. So you got to make sure that your customers are happy. The other thing is, last week when I talked about shipping the espresso machine, we sold the item on Mercari. And the customer basically said, oh, the top broke, I would like a refund. Took a couple of days for Mercari to look through the case, and what turned out to be Mercari actually has a shipping protection policy. So it was really awesome because Mercari gave us our full sold price, and we actually sold the item, and Mercari gave us the money for the sold item, and in addition, the buyer got a refund. So Mercari is doing the heavy lifting on talking to the postal service and get the compensation and file a claim through the postal service, which is super great. I was so surprised to find out that we are still getting the sale, even though the item was somewhat broken. So we are super happy about that. And that makes us want to sell more on Mercari. So thank you, Mercari. All right, let's see. Brittany has a comment. If they leave negative feedback and it's not valid, just call eBay and they will remove it. Very good tip. Very good tip, Brittany. I totally agree and totally encourage people to do that, because eBay, believe it or not, they are actually quite fair. You could call the number and you provide some reasoning, and they're actually reasonable to if they want to remove your item, so remove your feedback. So thank you, Brittany. Tip number 6. Oops, this is not tip number 6. Tip number 7 is know what packaging supplies to use. Again, it doesn't mean that if the item fit within any packaging that you have to use it. Many times people want to save money and they use the envelope to put items in there to save shipping costs. But you probably ended up, if you don't have the right packaging supply, if you put something fragile in an envelope, you're probably going to get a lot of dings on your account. So evaluate what is the best packaging item or box, or whether you should use a poly mailer, a box, or whatever, a tube. Sometimes people ship posters or any like paintings and they use a tube. So really evaluate what's the best way to ship an item. So you gotta strategize on that. Even shoe boxes, I know some people recommend using a poly mailer or an envelope to ship shoes with boxes, I personally have received sneakers boxes that are beat up, and so I personally do not want to do that. So that's just us. Um, so Duncan said, "What is a ding?" And he says, "See, buyer always gets refund if they complain, and in reality, they just need to do a chargeback at their bank to get the money back." That's absolutely right. Good call, Duncan. All right, tip number 8 is tape all the corners and sides. So now this is something Marina had suggested, is that make sure not just the corners, and all the sides, and not just the top and bottom. Make sure you tape the sides of the boxes too, because sometimes they throw them around and sometimes there would be holes on the side of the box. It's best to tape the sides. And when I talk about sides, I'm talking about the edge of the box on the side. So that is highly recommended, and that would really help protect the box in a way. In addition, if it rains, if the item is going through some wet weather, snow and rain, it'll help protect the water from going into the box as well if you tape them. And lastly, this is really the best tip from a packaging perspective, is a box in a box. So, this is a really good example. In this photo, you've got a box inside a box. And in addition, it's got the peanuts styrofoam around the box with a good amount of space on each side. And by doing this, you 100% guarantee that the item will arrive safely. Now, the way to ship this, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's totally worth it, especially if you're shipping in a very expensive item. 100% you want to make sure that item is intact. So a box in a box, and if you order a lot of stuff from Amazon, keep all your boxes, and make sure you have enough supplies. And shipping supplies is really an investment, and 100% you gotta invest in shipping supplies. I used to cheap out on shipping supplies, and not good. It's not good to cheap out. So invest in good quality shipping supplies, because many times when we do a good job, the reviews and the feedback we get is really great packaging. Everything arrived securely, and you want other shoppers and other buyers to see those type of comments so they trust you. So packaging, very important in the reselling game. That is the last step before it gets to the customer, and that is indeed, you don't want to fail there. All right, so that's it for today. Hopefully you guys learned something about shipping fragile items. We are still learning. We still break items. Sometimes not our fault, but it still happens. So we definitely want to remind ourselves that, hey, don't rush. Make sure you could do a drop test too. Sometimes a drop test would help. So I am very curious to see if my jewelry box that's made out of glass and mirror arrives safely, because I'm not sure if I did a good job there. So we will keep you guys posted. All right, so without further ado, that goes to our meme. I don't even know how to describe this. This is a cargo ship with a lot of shipping containers. And apparently the ship is sinking, and all the shipping containers are basically falling apart. And the meme says, shipping fail ×2. So the ship is sinking and the shipping containers are falling apart. So that's that. This is crazy. Hopefully our packages are not in there. All right. So Duncan has a comment. Should I test how the package goes if I run over it with a car? Sure. Make sure you have insurance on that. That's another thing, guys. When you ship items and you want to make sure there's some kind of guarantee, make sure you have insurance covered. USPS always have, some kind of insurance. USPS priority mail. Sorry, correction. Priority mail. They have insurance covered, and FedEx also has insurance. So just make sure you're covered in case something happens. And and that's that. So thank you for joining today, and hopefully, you guys are willing now to buy bigger items, to source bigger, bulkier items, and test it out and see what happens. So, Duncan, our moderator, thanks for joining from Australia. And Brittany, thanks for joining. Cynthia, thank you so much for joining. If you guys have questions about shipping, or you want to know how to file a claim or anything shipping related, please DM us. We are happy to share whatever we can with you guys. Have a wonderful night. Duncan, I don't know what time it is in Australia, but have a great evening, day, morning, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Bye.